Page and welcome to you all session 5 of our faculty development program on the topic utilizing cutting-edge pedagogical approaches to enhance educational efficacy. Now, it's my welcome our esteemed resource person, Dr. Gundupagi Manjunath, Principal of Bheemi Reddy Institute of Management Science, Adoni, Andhra Pradesh. On behalf of Kristu Jayanti College, it's my great pleasure that we extend a hearty welcome to you, sir. Your presence and participation in our community. We are honored to have you with us, and your insights and contributions will undoubtedly enrich our endeavors in the field of education. Hearty welcome to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
True leadership is not just about guiding, but igniting a fire within others, empowering them to reach greater heights and become the very best version of themselves. So I very welcome our Professor Vijay Kumar, Head Department of Commerce. Sir has been our constant guide and support and is the reason behind the perfect planning and execution of this event today. We welcome you, sir. I also extend my warm welcome to all the faculty coordinators of FDP, participants from various institutions, and faculty members to this session. Welcome all. Explore the dynamic realm of experiential learning. And today, we dive into a crucial aspect of education that shapes the future of learning. To commence this insightful session, let me introduce our esteemed personalities who will enlighten us today. For that, I now request Dr. Priyanka Ghosh, Faculty of Commerce UG, to introduce the resource person of the day.
Dr. G. Manjunath is presently working as professor and principal in Bheemi Reddy Institute of Management Science, Adoni, Kurnool district, Andhra Pradesh. Previously, he has worked in Oxford College of Business Management, HSR Layout, SRN Others College, Chamrajpet, Bangalore. He also worked with the companies like India Infoline, Thomson Reuters, Axis Build Zone. He has also served for 15 years in the education sector for various academic roles. Sir, I welcome you, and now I request you to take over the session.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the introduction. Opportunity to share my experience about the learning methodologies, pedagogies. Ma'am, you made me as a co-host.
Yes, sir.
I will share the screen.
So you can share this.
Doorway side. One second. So very good morning to all the participants. As previously in the last session, we have seen different pedagogies. Myself discussed on problem-based learning, Here, today, I will be sharing my experience, especially in applying this experiential learning theory, one of the most important pedagogies, especially we apply in the business and management stream. Experiential learning models, if we observe, all the models are structured framework which gives us the which gives us an approach where we can plan, we can execute, and we can reflect on different learning experiences. Nowadays, most of the trainers, especially trainers, along with the educators, they are using this experiential learning model as a unique component in meeting their educational goals. We have so many models, but you take any model, almost all the models, they provide a structured framework, and most of the experiential learning models, they emphasize on the different experiences, application of the knowledge, especially gained through the experiences. Here, either maybe a trainer, maybe an educator, maybe a trainer or an educator can choose a particular model which can be applied in the classroom environment or at the training session. There is no proper definition because most of the theories, if we observe the learning theories, most of the theories, they have their own meaning, they have their own definitions. But in general, if I want to define the experiential learning, can say that it is an engagement of the student, especially we can
So you're muted. So 1 minute, you can unmute yourself.
So I request all the participants to mute so that there is no disturbance. Okay, so defining when it comes to the defining the experiential learning, in general, we say it is the engagement of the students where they are learning with different opportunities what they have, and they learn by doing. If you observe now, AICT is taking lot of initiatives through the internship. They made internships as a mandatory, and they have given internship guidelines also in 2000, last 3 years back. They have given internship guidelines also, because it's not only in the PG level, even UG level, even diploma level. You take any stream of the education, always there is an experience for a learner. So if we provide that experience to the learner, that learning becomes permanent with the learner, and also it empowers them where they can apply that theoretical knowledge, and practically they can perform in their in the organizations also. So experiential learning, if we take experiential learning in one word, I can say that it is nothing but learning by doing. Especially in the engineering stream, I have observed most of the times when I ask some students, so how you are going to create a tool in the lab, they used to tell that because until unless they have not seen a tool designing, they can't create another tool. So what we did is we asked a technical person, a person who is expert in designing and a tool. We asked him to, we invited him to visit our workshop and give some inputs to our students in while making a tool. Now the students what they did is in the lab itself, they started observing. All right, they started making some points, like what are all the steps that he followed, what are all the precautions that he has taken, and how he is designing, how he is drawing the tool, and what kind of procedures he is following. So all these things clearly they have observed in the lab itself, and then they started. Again, the expert, what he did is he has given another tool for the students to design and to make the tool. The students performed very well. The reason behind performance of the learner here is because of the experience what they have received at the time of the learning. So here what I want to say is learning comes from various sources. Learning comes from the various sources, but when it comes to experiential learning, that learning comes from the experience, and that experience which directs the students to apply the theoretical knowledge outside of the classroom. This is what we expect each and every learner has to perform. So that is what we expect. So in today's presentation, because most of the educators, trainers, they might have applied different kinds of theories, especially learning theories, to meet their educational goals, knowingly or unknowingly sometimes. Uh, uh, but but when it comes to a particular theory, if I want to apply a particular theory, this is my educational goal and this is my outcome, and I have to uh, ensure that this theory is applied on in my class. So when it comes to the experiential learning, as I already discussed in the problem-based learning, inquiry-based learning, even we have 7-step model. So case study methodology, uh, project-based methodology, project-based learning models, online-based models. So in the previous session, what I have discussed, almost all the models, they are giving some experience to the learners, and through that experience, students are able to acquire the knowledge and they are able to apply. So when it comes to the models, so today I will be discussing some popular models, especially in the experience learning. Initially, we have model developed by David A. Kolb, a widely recognized framework which describes the process of experiential learning. So Kolb is the first. Kolb's model is the first learning model. Okay, Kolb's experiential learning model, which is the first of kind model, especially when we are talk about experiential learning. This model has played a major role. In this, if we observe here, we have a framework which describes the process of experiential learning. See, this model, which emphasizes the importance of different stages in the learning cycle. So here we have concrete experience, which talks about the keywords like act, do, experience, and we have reflective observation, which talks about look back and assess what went well, not so well, and we have abstract conceptualization, active experimentation. See, learners here in this model, learners are moving from one stage to another stage, and continuously this process is going on. That means after the concrete experience, then the learners will go to the reflective observation, then they go to the abstract conceptualization, then they go for active experimentation, and this process, the cyclical process continues. And this particular model can be applied to wide range of educational and any professional context. Not only not only in the classroom, even outside of the classroom also, this model played a major role, especially when it comes to the measuring the students' performance, especially in the learning. So let me discuss about the concrete experience. Concrete experience is the first stage of the cycle, which involves a direct experience or hands-on experience. So in this stage, learners actively, they are engaged in an experience, and they are participating in a specific activity. As I have given an example, what the specific activity, what is the specific activity in my example is designing a tool, again manufacturing a tool, a specific activity. And almost a small group is engaged in creating a tool. So this experiences, this concrete experience can be in a realistic environment, or sometimes it may be in the simulation environment also. In this stage, most of the times learners are focused on doing. So they will be doing what I have to, as I quoted in the example, what they are doing, the students, what they are doing in my example is they are creating a tool, they are manufacturing a tool, and they are feeling that. That is what this particular stage talks about, because to create that tool, the learners are gathering information by observation, and they have made some notes also, right? So they will be using all this information to create the tool, and as it is the first time they are experiencing, as it is the first time they are preparing a tool, so they may be facing some challenges, and sometimes unexpectedly they expect something, because knowingly or unknowingly they might have created a different tool, because their drawing may be different, and in the process they might have faced a lot of challenges. So this particular stage, which talks about the concrete experience of the student or learner. The second stage, after this concrete experience, slowly learners are moving to the second stage, which is called reflective observation. So in this stage, the learners are taking some time to reflect. Because why they are taking some time to reflect? Because in the first stage, what was their drawing, and what was their design, whether it came well or not, what they have observed at the time of the expert doing. So all these things we can observe in the second stage. That's why this particular stage is called as reflective observation, because learners considering here what happened, what went well, what they have seen, and what they have felt, and what they have learned during their experience. what they have learned during the experience. So in this particular stage, especially, they will be learning. That's why uh, I have quoted an example. That example you have to observe very clearly. Might be more, as we are all educators, we might have observed many situations, especially in the psychomotor domain skills, especially psychomotor domain skills. If you want to enhance the psychomotor domain skills, this particular model helps a lot. So after the second stage, in the third stage, especially the learners, they start sensing their experience. Like they will relate to themselves with the theories, what they have learned. They realize actually what was their model, because in the first stage, what they have drawn to create a tool, they sense that whether this is the model that we are about to create. So they link whatever their observations, because at the time of the expert, when expert was demonstrating in creating a tool, they might have made some observations. So in this stage, what they will be relating themselves with their observations, their concepts in the classroom, what they have learned, and they might have observed certain patterns, and they might have related to their existing knowledge in theoretical class, what they have learned, here they reflect that one. So that's why this particular stage is called conceptualization. So now here in this stage, now they can clearly understand how the theoretical education, what they have acquired in the classroom, applied practically in the lab while creating a tool. So this particular stage, third stage, which involves the development of the ideas or reflective observations. So as learners, they start to conceptualize the experience, like connections between the drawings, especially expert what he has drawn, and as a student what I have drawn. So here they will be comparing, and sometimes because if they have the prior knowledge in creating the tool, then only they can design. Now because of the demonstration, they got the prior knowledge. So here they will be testing themselves. So whether we have understood the concept, whether we have understood the procedure, whether we have understood our idea, what we have to create. Now, in the fourth stage, moving from third to the fourth stage, experimentation, and that too active experimentation. That means what in the three stages, whatever they have learned, they have acquired the knowledge. Now they start applying that. So they might have developed a new model. Now in the fourth stage, they apply that one, and sometimes they realistically they will apply that particular knowledge, and they start experimenting. Learners, they take what they have learned and they put it into the practice. So theoretically, what you have taught them in the classroom environment, everything they'll put into the practice in the workshop, especially while creating a tool. And in this particular stage, learners are engaged in the new experiences, because earlier they don't have experience of creating a tool by themselves. Now they are experiencing. Now they are engaged in conducting certain experiments. Even learners, they are bound to make some decisions. Here they have to make some decisions based on the concepts what they have formed in the previous stages, like in the concrete experience, in the reflective observation, in the conceptualization. In all the three stages, they have to apply. They have to apply because what they have formed in these stages, so they will be making certain decisions here in this particular stage, and they are testing. In this stage, they are testing themselves. How well we have done, how well we have done, and sometimes what we do is we ask them to compare. See the expert, how they have created the tool, and being a learner, how we created the tool. So we compare the tools designed, created by both the people, and then we have evaluation. So what went wrong? In which stage? So shall we continue the cycle once same tool, what you have observed from the expert. So this particular stage, especially in the active experimentation, evaluation of the results, evaluation of the results. Say here, what is the result? Creating a tool. So after creating a tool, we compare the tool with the expert tool, and then we try to identify what went wrong. See, in the second stage, in the reflective observation, what went well, not so well. So here, that means the learners again, they have to continue the cycle with the concrete experience. Then the second reflective observation, there they have to reconsider what went wrong. So here they will correct their mistakes, and again they reapply their knowledge, whether it may be from the observations or anything. So here after, say for example, successfully the learners has completed the cycle. And most of the time, after completing the cycle also, for the betterment of the learning, so what we as a educator or an instructor, what we will be doing is, again we start the same cycle with the new insights or new lessons what they have learned. So this cyclical nature of Holt's model represents the ongoing nature of learning. Ongoing, that means learning is continuous here. And how that learning is happening? That learning is happening through the experience. So that's why Holt's model became very popular, because here learning is happening at every stage and learning is continuous. So any model which is a continuous process is involved, we can expect that model as the best model, because betterment, when it comes to the betterment we can expect by implementing this kind of models. So this is the first and foremost important model as an educator we can apply in the classroom environment or in the training sessions of most of the organizations for the professional development. They are using in the industries also. They are using in the industries also this model for the development of the employees to attain their goals. Moving to the second model, Levin's experiential learning model, developed by Kurt Lewin. And here if you observe, here it is a three-stage framework. Three-stage framework. I think management educators, they might have observed this model in the organizational behavior, where we talk about the especially individual and group change. This is one of the best model for the change management also. In the change management also, we apply this model. Even in the experiential learning also, we apply this model. This model which talks about individual learning as well as group learning. And most of the times, as I told you, as in the organizational behavior, we might have seen this one widely used in the development of the organization, sometimes widely used in group dynamics, as it focuses on how individuals and groups they adopt to new experiences and learn from them. So this three-stage Levin's model comprises of various inputs. Say, for example, in the first stage which talks unfreeze, which recognizes the first stage recognizes the before learning, what was the learner's belief before learning, what was the learner's attitude or behavior. So in this stage, you are slowly preparing an individual or a group to change. That means you are making them to change. You are preparing them to change. So if you observe, why we have to bring some change? Because learners, how they were doing may not be an effective way of doing. So problem exists because current employee, especially in the organization, current employee is not performing and he is not doing the way he has to do. So it is not the effective way of doing. So there the problem exists. That's why to address that problem, first thing is you need to recognize why there is a requirement of the change, why there is a need for the change. After recognizing the need for the change, awareness. So individuals or groups, they become aware of the reasons why I have to change. Suppose in the organization, a new technology has been integrated, but employees, they don't know how to work on that technology. So employees has to be trained on that technology. So first thing is that we don't know how to operate that technology, how to work on that technology. So we have recognized why we have to learn. And also individuals, they don't have awareness, because if I want to be in this organization, definitely I have to learn how to perform on that particular technology. So here, especially in the unfreeze stage, what is happening, employees or learners, we will be thinking about the benefits of the change. Suppose if I learn, what will be the benefit for the employee or for the learner? And see, when it comes to the change, there is a lot of resistance. If we ask the student, so tomorrow you have to do like this only, means immediately what we expect some resistance. Students or learners, they may not show interest. Even in the organization also, if any new technology comes, if I want to learn a new technology, means employees also, they show some resistance. So here in the first stage, we have to address that. How to reduce this resistance to change in this particular stage is very, very important, because employees or learners, they are attached to their current way of doing. This is because they are habituated to do continuously in the same way. So if management or if an educator asks the student or asks very difficult, so that's where we expect the resistance from the where the actual learning and transformation occur in this particular stage. So as individuals or groups, they are engaged in the new experiences, and they have already acquired a new knowledge. They might have acquired skills. So here we can expect in this particular stage we can expect that learners there is a change in their behavior, there is a change in their attitude. Even in the organization also, employees what they have done, because they got the new technology, so they have learned how to work on that technology, so they got new skills. And now the individuals are ready because they are going to face a new experience with the new technology. So in the process, what they'll do, they will also change their behavior. In the process, they'll change their attitude also. So this is particular stage. We can observe the experimentation, we can observe the transition stage, we can observe some sort of support or guidance, because individuals will be adjusting to a new environment. Learners they have to adjust for doing in a new way, because when we ask them to do in a new way, always what, as a teacher, as a instructor, most of the times I face problem with the uncertainty. They show the discomfort. Sir, we don't know how to do this. Demonstrate. We require some sort of demonstration. This kind of uncertainty and this kind of discomfort we observe especially from the unfreeze to change stage, because this is the transition stage. We started experimentation, we started we started our support, we started guiding the employees, we started guiding the learners. So we are in this particular stage, we are helping the individuals or group to adapt to these changes and learn effectively. This is what is required. Effective learning comes from the change in their attitude and in their behavior. Then only we can observe, because when learning happened, we can observe that change. And when change happened in that individual, definitely I can say that he learned that particular technology or a new skill. Levin also given the third stage, which is called as refreeze. So in this particular stage, new behaviors, attitudes, or the processes that they have learned and adopted during the second stage. During the second stage, what they have adopted, what they have learned, it will become a new rule or new standard or new norm. Because in the rephrase stage, what we are observing is the integration. In the second stage, what we have observed? Transition we have observed. But in the third stage, we are observing that integration, because the earlier how they were doing, now they are doing it in a different way, and that becomes their new way of doing the things. That become new way of doing the, and it will be integrated into their everyday day-to-day activities. They will integrate that new learning. So this change will be stable, and because when they consider this new norm as their way of doing, definitely we expect some stability here in this particular stage, because the change will be the stable here, and individuals or groups become comfortable with the new state of affairs, because they learned new things, they learned new way of doing. And also we can observe sometimes it may involve even reinforcing that change, because here as an instructor I might have given a positive feedback to the learner that yes, you learnt very well and you started continuing the new learning. And sometimes we may appreciate, we may recognize the learner. So this particular model is a very simple model. Just we need to keep in our mind unfreeze, change and refreeze. And this model especially highlights the importance of preparing the individuals or groups for change. As an instructor, we have to facilitate that. As an instructor, we have to facilitate the learning process also. And as an instructor, we have to ensure that this change becomes permanent. This particular change becomes permanent. Why? Because we have seen the resistance. We have seen the resistance, and now we are observing in the third stage integration. And we expect, because our goal is the student has to perform in the new way only, because this is the new way of learning. So they have to change, very invariably they have to change, and that change should become permanent. And as I told, Levin's experiential learning model most of the times adopted in the organizations. It has influenced various fields, particularly in the organizational development. As I told, this model is also applied in the change management also, because this model will guide the individuals through a significant process of changing and learning new experiences. So this model, by adopting this model here, we are also able to identify the various challenges of the change. If an individual is not changing, means what are the factors, what are the challenges that we need to work on, that so that I can change that individual. When you can promote the successful learning and adoption, when you are able to change the learner's attitude and behavior, that is the only way we can change the learner's attitude and behavior, so that we can observe a new permanent change. That's why this model extensively applied in the organizational development. So moving to the next model, Dodlin's reflective model, which was developed by Chris Argyris. Actually, it's not Dodlin. Chris Argyris developed this model. Dodlin, in his book book titled Learning from Experience Through Reflection. Extensively, he discussed about this model. And this model is also a structured framework for guiding the process of reflection on experience. Reflection on experience, the process. So here we are talking about a process again. Process on experience. That's why this particular model has become one of the best model in the experiential learning, especially in the professional development. What is required? Problem solving skills, decision making skills. So this particular model will help the learners to have the problem solving skills and decision making skills. So Darlin's reflective model comprises of 3 stages. The first stage, problematic situation, or sometimes you may take it as a challenging experience, or maybe a challenge, or sometimes always this situation may talk about an issue or a problem or a set of situations where you require some decision making or improvement, because here the learner is identifying a specific problem that has to be addressed or that has to be reflected. So here in this particular stage, the learner should essentially understand clearly about the situation, or maybe a context, or maybe the challenge, problematic situation. If learner unable to understand the problem only, then it becomes very difficult. So how do we ensure whether the learner has understood the problem or not? One second. How do we understand whether learner has understood the problem or not? Anybody from the participants, you can give your views in the chat box. How do we come to a conclusion that the learner has understood the problem? Any inputs? Okay. Hope you are all following me. The second stage, which focuses on reflective thinking, where the learner, thank you ma'am, responded, where the learner engages in a structured process of reflection on the problematic situation. See, most of the times reflective thinking requires a deeper analysis. Sometimes we have to introspect whether really I do have the insight about the concept, whether really I have understood the concept or not. So for reflective thinking, what is required? The learner's assumption. How learner is assuming the problem. How learner is considering their assumptions, their beliefs, their preconceptions, and how the learner is thinking about the situation. How learner is exploring. How learner is influencing sometimes the perception. And how learner is taking a decision. Because most of the times in the reflective thinking, learners express and examine their emotions. and they react to the situation. So here we can observe their emotional aspect of the learners, right? In this stage, even we can observe learners sometimes analyze the situation by understanding the fact, and if they have the learner through the data, and he is understanding the contributing factors. So he is understanding the situation. So in the reflective thinking, learner is analyzing the situation, and also he is learning different insights, because at the time of the analysis of the situation, he might have learned new lessons. He might have gained better analysis. They might have discovered a new approach, maybe new perspective. They may think that it is a valuable knowledge. In the third stage, deciding on action. Deciding on action. So here in this stage, the learners are considering actions or solutions. Whatever the actions or solutions they have identified or they have developed, which will be addressed the problematic situation, first one, based on their reflective thinking. So here, based on this, they made decisions about how to respond or what actions to be taken. So when the learners deciding on the action, they consider various alternative options for addressing the problematic situation. Sometimes they compare the pros and cons of the each option, each situation. After considering alternatives, learners they take a decision regarding uh, the problematic situation. So how this decision is informed through the reflective thinking in the previous stages. So learners are creating a plan. Sometimes they may create different kinds of steps, or they may craft new strategies how they can implement. See, in the problematic situation, and deciding an action is the last stage. Decision making. Now they have to take a decision. How they are taking decision? They have their own outline. They have their own step. They have their own strategies. So this is the stage where they develop a plan. This is the stage where they are taking the decision. This is the stage where they are considering the different alternatives.
Priyanka?
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Incorporation. Now, deciding on action, reflective thinking, problematic situation, how we are going to incorporate the learning? Because implementation, when it comes to the implementation, in the deciding on action, what they have come up with their plan and strategy, they apply here. They apply the chosen solution, or they apply their decision to address the problematic situation. So as it is also a process, this model is also a process. Here learners continue to reflect on their own actions, their own experiences, because the learners, they want to improve They want to improve their learning outcomes. So that's the reason why in the incorporation and learning stage also, again, the learners continuing the same process. That's why this model is a cyclical model, because as an instructor, we will be giving the feedback. And because of our feedback, again, they may start the same cycle once again. Again, they understand the problematic situation. They work on the reflections. They decide whether which action has to be taken. So this process continues. This process continues. So this is the Dodlin's reflective model. Here also we can observe that learning comes from the reflection. Learning is coming from the reflection. Learning is coming from the experience. Learning coming from the prior knowledge. So these are the key elements. You take any experiential learning model, the key elements that we observe. That means if you are adopting or if you are applying in your classroom environment, we have to ensure that we are not missing the key elements. This is how we apply the learning model. Another experiential learning model, if we observe the previous models, in the previous models, if you observe, there is a systematic approach, how individuals are developing a deeper understanding of the different situations, and how we are considering them as the informed decision makers. Our objective is to enhance their problem solving skills. So that's the reason why the previous learning theories, if you observe, those theories encouraged a structured way of approach. A structured way of approach of learning from the experience, even which can be applied on the personal development of the individual also. So the last one, Gibbs reflective cycle, a widely used model. This is also, there are so many models. I have considered only the few models which are extensively applied to attain the educational goals. So this model is also a structured approach developed by Graham Gibbs and popularly applied in the healthcare education and other education setting also. This model is applied. This model basically guides individuals through a systematic process of reflecting on an experience. Because if you observe first, second, third, fourth and fifth, most of the times it looks as if the previous model, what we have discussed in the previous model, the same systematic process also here we are observing. Only the thing is that we are reflecting on an experience. We are reflecting on an experience to gain that deeper insights and understanding. Because if you observe the Gibbs reflective cycle, six stages, especially this model plays a crucial role in the reflective process. Let me talk about from the first stage, which describes the specific experience or situation. That means in this particular stage, we should be in a position to provide a clear and clear objective. What happened? Who was involved? And where it occurred? As a learner, what you are doing at that particular time. So in this context, especially in this context, questioning the learner. Questioning the learner, where the learner, by answering these questions, they start their reflection, having a clear understanding about the problem. Now you are asked to explore your emotional response to some experience. So generally we ask you how you felt during that situation. So learner giving so many emotions. Sometimes learner say that I am frustrated, I am confused, I am satisfied. But each and every emotion has to be acknowledged. Each and every emotion has to be acknowledged. This is what a very important point, because most of the times instructors, what we'll be doing, we will be trying to identify the people who are interested, but we don't try to identify people who are confused, who are satisfied, who are frustrated. So the third stage, which involves the critical assessment of the experience. So here in this particular stage, we consider what the positive situation, what is so negative about the situation. We ask the learner, think what went well, what did not went well. So here we evaluate the overall experience. We evaluate the overall experience. We evaluate the performance of the learner, and we also measure the involvement of the learner. In the analysis stage, we are getting into the deeper into the experience by examining. As an instructor, we are examining the learners from the various aspects. So what was your actions? What was your decisions for the problematic situation? How you have felt emotions? So we try to analyze the factors. We try to analyze the influences. What are the potential influences on the situation? So here instructor will be identifying from the learners what you have learned from the experience. So the next stage, which is the conclusion stage, where we draw the general conclusions from our analysis. So here we summarize the insights, we identify the different patterns, we try to understand the experience, what taught us, and also we consider how the experience could have handled in a different way. Suppose if I want to make certain changes, what changes I can make in future? So the conclusion stage, which talks about all this. The final stage is the action plan stage, which involves actions. What actions we will take based on the learner's reflections? How you can apply your new knowledge. Sometimes we ask the students, you learnt a new thing, how you can apply the new knowledge in a different way. We learnt a new skill, how we are applying that new skill. So in the future situations, whatever the changes that we make, and what are the steps that we are going to take to improve the learner's performance. Sometimes these situations, similar situations, we use for effective way of learning, because every time when we talk about a problem or a situation, this is what happening in the classroom. So I have identified a similar situation from the past 2 to 3 weeks, and we are with these similar situations, we can have our action plan. How can we address these situations? How we can ensure the learner's reflection? So Gibbs reflective cycle is also designed for the continuous process, because in the learning journey, it reflects throughout the learning journey of a learner. And one of the best model for personal and professional development, and also encourages the self-awareness, critical thinking, application of the lessons learned from the experience. Yes, ma'am. Do we have time, ma'am?
So we can wind up now, sir.
Maybe another 4 to 5 minutes, ma'am?
Yeah, yeah, okay, sir. Okay, sir.
The one more model left. Actually, one more model left, ma'am,
Yes,
which is the 4H experiential model,
yes,
uh, which was developed by the National 4H Council, an organization in the United States. Uh, because this is a new model uh, developed by the organization. That's the reason why I just want to discuss for 1 or 2 minutes.
yes,
The
yes, you can
4H
finish them.
experiential model, uh, uh, even we have the different stages, but here we give more importance to the experience, like engaging the learners on the real life experiences, because when the learner is engaged on the real life experiences, we can enhance the active, interactive, and practical aspects of learning by directly involving the learner, because this we can observe, and sometimes we can implement also by taking the learners to the field trips. Most of the time we will be taking the learners to the field trips for experiments. Sometimes we can conduct experiments, sometimes we can have our own activities for having this kind of experience. In this stage, maybe learners actively they will be engaged. When we take our students to the industrial trips, they are engaged a lot by. So that's why this 4H model, I just want to uh, just talk about a few things. Second, in the 4H model, share state, which talks about how participants are encouraged to discuss and share their experience. See, most of the times, how we do is, after going for the field trip, we assemble all the students, we ask the students what you have observed, what you have learned, and we ask their experience to share among the others. So another stage is the process stage, which focuses on reflection and critical thinking. So here learners are encouraged to think about their experience individually, because when we have taken them to a field trip, sometimes we ask individually what was their experience, and uh, sometimes by asking, instructor is gaining a deeper understanding about the learner's learning, what the learner has learned. And we can observe that self reflection of learning. As an instructor, we facilitate it, and we observe that self reflection, because the learner is directly sharing the learning experience on their own. And so we are considering this is what they have learned. The last stage of the 4H experiential learning model is the generalization stage, which involves again taking the insights and the knowledge which gained from the experience. Because here what is happening, transfer of learning we can observe, We can observe that setting of the goals, and also we can observe how the learners they enhance their problem solving skills. Because in the classroom environment, we might have taught them one particular way to solve the problem, but when we have arranged an industrial trip, there they might have observed the new way of solving the problem. So here, the learner's ability to generalize the learning, we can clearly observe in this particular model. That's the reason why I have considered this model, 4H experiential learning model. For instructors, we have so many experiential learning models. One key element here is learning by doing. That key element should not miss in the experiential learning model if we are applying that model. If any questions, I can take, otherwise. No, thank you, ma'am, for giving an extra time.
Thank you, sir. Looks like picture on spiritual learning. So your wealth of experience and profound knowledge shared with us today have been truly invaluable for us. So thank you so much, sir. Now, as we come to the end of this insightful session, I would like to call upon Ms. Reddy, Faculty of Commerce, to propose the order.
Thank you, ma'am. The essence of all beautiful art, all great art, is gratitude. I deem it my privilege to propose the vote of thanks today. Starting off, I would like to thank the Almighty for blessing us with this beautiful day. Our esteemed resource person, Mr. Gundupagi Manjunath, sir, we are honored and grateful to you we have today. Thank you for your time, sir. I would like to thank Professor Vijay Kumar R, Head Department of Commerce, and all the faculty coordinators of the FDP program. I would feel in my duty if I do not appreciate the efforts of faculty members and participants for timely joining and attending the FDP program. At last, I would like to thank each one of you present here. Thank you and have a great day. I remain.
Thank you, ma'am. As we conclude today's session, we'll join once again for another enlightening day of our FDP. Let's continue this journey of exploration and innovation in education together. Thank you all and have a wonderful rest of the day.